Hey Sketchy friends! So during my recent travel sketching vacation workshop week in the Cape Winelands, I was teaching an amazing bunch of people and we explored Cape Town and the Winelands for one whole week together, which was amazing. There was one particular student, his work kind of really developed organically over the trip, and it's actually what's inspired me to make this video. So this is Jay's sketch of one of the buildings right at the end of the trip in Stellenbosch, one of the university buildings. And I just really love how he's captured this building just in line. And that is what we're talking about today. So throw away those watercolors and let's just talk about lines. As you can see from this sketch, he has really managed to capture the spirit of this building just in line and with, I feel like, just the right amount of detail. I was actually so impressed with his sketch. I went around the group and showed it to everyone and I took a picture as well. I really think he just caught something there. The whole purpose behind this video is just to encourage you that, especially if you're a beginner, you don't need to leap into both drawing and watercolor at the exact same time. Watercolor is quite a tricky medium all by itself. And if you're just starting to learn urban sketching, then maybe trying to also throw watercolor into the mix is just something that's leading to a bit of overwhelm. If you're a beginner, why not get to grips with drawing, and especially drawing on location, which is a whole separate skill from just learning how to draw, and just forget watercolor for now. And maybe you'll come to it later, maybe you won't. Maybe you'll be one of those urban sketchers who doesn't even use watercolor at all. And I've covered this in a previous video, not all urban sketchers use watercolor. Or perhaps you are already an urban sketcher, but you're feeling a bit stuck, you're in a bit of a creative rut or something like that, and you need a bit of a reset. Why not use this invitation just to use lines as a bit of a challenge for your next few sketches and see what comes of it? Okay, so I just want to spend a couple of minutes just showing you some urban sketches that I know of that just use line. And then I want to talk to you about the benefits of using line and also give you some tips on how to sketch just with line. So the first sketcher I want to mention is James Hobbs. I was lucky enough to meet him in person several weeks ago and get his new book from him. And I just want to show you some of his drawings. This is one of his earlier ones, just in line, but I think more in pencil there. But this is the style I know him better for, which is just using a thick black pen. I can't tell you how inspiring this was to me when I first discovered urban sketching or travel sketching, any kind of sketching on location. I was like, oh, okay, it can be this straightforward. And by that, I mean, you can just use a pen and you can just draw whatever's in front of you. And I love here that he's started to introduce a gray color as well, just to show a bit of background versus foreground. That's absolutely what I love about James Hobbs's style. Here, it just shows he can still capture all kinds of trees and foliage. There's no kind of subject matter that you're not able to draw just in line. I really love here, again, he's gone for the foreground in the black pen and the background in the grey pen. I think that's really, really effective. And then this one, he's actually introduced a few other colours, so yellow, red and green as well. So yeah, just a beautifully simple style, but quite difficult to do this well like James does, but definitely something I find really, really inspiring. So this book is available through Sketcher Press, which is Gabby Campanario's sort of publishing label, I suppose you would call it. Gabby being the very person who started the urban sketchers movement. What I love about drawing is there's always new techniques and methods to explore. I've been using Artists Academy, today's video sponsor, to explore new ideas, whether it's different material, composition, or color theory. Artists Academy is your online resource for all things painting and drawing. I love to learn anything I can from the master of perspective and line drawings, Paul Heaston. So he's got a few classes on the platform, and this one in particular has really helped me understand how to tackle tricky scenes just in line. But there's plenty to dig into on the watercolor side of things as well. This class by Kateri Ewing is a great primer on color mixing and the split primary system, for example. Of course, though, there is so much more to explore on the platform. There's videos on different mediums, different techniques, subject matters, and as a member, you'll also get access to live events with the expert instructors on the platform as well. So the first 1,000 of my subscribers to click the link in the video description will get a full year of premium membership to Artists Academy for only $1.49, and it's valid for new members only. Another urban sketcher I really love who mainly just draws in line is Ralph Schroer. This book is available through Pushing Your Sketching Boundaries. I'll put the links to these books in the description below if you want to grab a copy. This book is Ralph's drawings of 1 year, I think, spent at the bus station in Berlin. And I just love it. I love his style of drawing so much. There's just so much detail, there's so much going on. I love the way he draws people. Sometimes he doesn't even draw the bottom half of a person, they've gone and he's on to the next person and he just leaves it like that. There's just so much energy and so much movement. But again, I just wanted to show you this is how much you can achieve just in line. So again, very, very inspiring artist and style. Now, another urban sketcher is Richard Briggs, and I only just heard of him a couple of years ago because he was teaching at the Urban Sketchers Symposium in New Zealand and Buenos Aires. I just love his use of line. It's almost like he starts at one point and just moves across the page, almost a continuous line. It could be that, I'm not sure. This one is beautiful. I love his sense of composition. This is like a backward C shape. And again, it seems like he starts at one point and then draws and then ends at another point. I just think it's really, really interesting. And he doesn't draw everything. So it's a perfect example of less is more. It's really clever composition, lots of white space, predominantly a black line, but you can see splashes of color here and there just in the odd area of the drawing. So again, quite a simplistic looking style, but just like James, it looks simple to do, but I think probably quite difficult to pull off, but really, really worth spending some time on looking at these kinds of urban sketches and figuring out what they're doing and why it works. This one's brilliant. I love that he's got the signage in different colors and just one pop of color right in the middle of the scene. I think maybe where there's some food. I think this is at a market. There's something about it. You can tell exactly what's going on in the scene, even though it can look quite scribbly. This one's a little cleaner with the building in the background and then all the people in blue at the bottom there. I think Richard is an architect as well as an artist. I encourage you to go and read more about him and his work. Also check out his Instagram profile. I'll put all of the links in the description below for this as well. I love this one where he's partially drawn the car and then he's got some interesting stuff in the background, using different colours in the windows, some of the cables and stuff. I love how little of that car he's drawn, but he doesn't actually need to draw any more. I know exactly what it is, and our eyes fill in the rest. It's so clever. I love it. And then another urban sketcher I've mentioned in a few videos before over time is Lynden Hayes. I love his use of coloured lines specifically. So here he's got reds in the foreground and then yellow in the background. Nearly all of his work, certainly in these sketching on location sketchbooks that he's got, are in this style of just line only. In the background here, he has filled in a bit of the sky with a blue, but the crux of the drawing is all done in line, purple in the foreground, red in the background. Super, super detailed, really, really well drawn. And he does flip throughs of these sketchbooks. He's got a YouTube channel, so I really recommend checking that out as well. This one's great. He actually introduces a third colour. So he's got the purple buildings on the side of the page, he's got the red bridge, and then right in the background he's got the pink skyline. It just really, really beautiful use of colour and of line. Again, in this one, blue in the foreground and then red in the background. And you can just see how much detail he's put into it. But if you think about it, he's just doing line only, so he doesn't have to worry about drawing it and then getting out the watercolours and painting it. All of his time is spent on drawing. And this is another example, red in the foreground, grey in the background. And as far as I know, from what I can see, he uses the very, very fine Posca pens to do these drawings, but I speak under correction because I'm not 100% sure. Of course, we all try and find out what tools people are using, because we think if we get that tool, then we'll be able to draw like them, of course. But I think I remember it, the fine Posca markers, so that's quite interesting. And this one, he's gone to town on the colours a bit more. Essentially, he's still using red, blue and green, but he's using slightly different values of green. He's got the pink and the red and a light blue and a dark blue. So yeah, I think that's really interesting to see how he pushes things with the different colours. So I hope looking at those 4 examples was really inspiring for you guys. The benefits of using line, well, it does, you know, if you can spend all of your time just drawing a line, then it does, I think, help to improve your observation and also construction of your drawing. It definitely helps you sketch faster on the go, because again, you don't need to worry about painting or colours or anything like that. I think therefore it can really boost your confidence with drawing. If you're just focusing on one element of this whole situation, you're simply just going to get better and better, because if you keep doing it, then that's just where it leads. And then it's also, it speaks to my minimalist soul. It means that you can carry as little as one pen and a sketchbook, and off you go, you're off to the races. So that's pretty cool as well. So I just want to leave you with a few things to think about when you're just drawing in line. Think about varying your line weight. So thin lines versus thick lines. It's a way that you can direct focus and create emphasis. And you can do this by using a thin pen and a thick pen, or maybe you have a pen that can actually vary its line weight by applying different pressures, like a brush pen or something like that, or maybe by drawing at different angles, so something like a Fude nib fountain pen. And then think about the different tools that you can use to make lines. It doesn't have to be a fountain pen or a fine liner. It can be like the Posca pens that I was talking about with Lynden Hayes. It can be colour pencils. It can be brush pens. It could even be some form of crayon or pastel or something like that. And then make sure to play with different colours as well. I think that's really fun. We saw it a little bit with James Hobbs, where he just used black in the foreground and grey in the background. We saw it a little bit differently with Richard Briggs, where he creates focus almost by just putting in a pop of colour in one area of the drawing. And then also with Lynden Hayes, using one colour in the foreground and one colour in the background, and so on and so forth. And once you get confident with that, you can start throwing different colours in, like Lynden does in some of his sketches. And then finally, think about using hatching or other patterns and creating texture, because drawing in line isn't all about just contour lines. You can also put in a lot of pattern and texture. I did this sketch literally a couple of days ago, and to be honest with you, I really wasn't liking it at all, right until the end, where I decided to really go to town on the background, and I started drawing in all the patterns and textures and everything I could see in the background. Once I did that, the whole thing came to life, and I really like the fact that the people are in watercolour in the foreground, and then I've got backgrounds just drawn in line with pink ink actually, and I just think it really made the sketch so much better. So do think about hatching, patterns and texture as well as just contour lines. So I really hope this video has inspired you just to get out there. The most important thing really is just to get out there and start drawing, or continue drawing, whichever you're doing. You don't need lots of fancy things. You don't need watercolour. You don't need to think about colour theory, all that stuff. Just get out there with a black pen and get drawing. So I focus on breaking things down very simply for beginners in my online course, Sketch Your Adventures. So if you do want to learn how to sketch in ink and watercolour, then I highly recommend checking that out. You can find it at sketchyouradventures.com. And I'll see you guys in the next video.